Today's commencement speaker is described quite clearly in the program, and I encourage you to review it. When occasionally I meet someone who does not know about Lynchburg College, I tell them something more than just about our size or the many excellent academic, athletic, and co-curricular programs that we offer, or the unique residential experience we offer. Rather, I try to do what I feel is much more important about this outstanding college. I do my best to capture within my words the essence of the institution, namely its very heart and soul. And just how do I go about that task? For those who have not had the opportunity to experience what it is like to graduate from a college that changes lives, I usually do one of two things. Either I describe a program of the college, such as our more than 5-year effort on the island of St. Lucia that's been sponsored by the World Bank, the Ministry of Education, St. Lucia, and more recently by the U.S. State Department through a Fulbright program, or I describe a specific graduate of Lynchburg College and tell in some detail just exactly what this individual has done in helping others. In fact, I think one may best understand the essence of this beloved college by knowing something about the people who have walked through the Dell of the institution, people I describe as having the mark of the hornet. Who are the people possessing the mark of the hornet? They have a lot of positive characteristics. They are honest, have unquestioned integrity, are self-starters, can endure and are persistent, work well in teams and individually, are bright, good thinkers, excellent oratory, are creative, athletic, compassionate, and care for others, have a positive outlook on life, are brave, dependable, and supportive of others, and much, much more. Well, just how do I think of all these characteristics? Pretty easy. I just think about the characteristics of the young men and women who I know personally sitting here this morning just about to graduate. But in addition, and above all, those with the mark of the hornet ask themselves one question: how will I use my talents and the fantastic education I have gained at Lynchburg College in ways that help others? The answer to that question then shines as a beacon that lights the path of action. Well do I remember meeting today's commencement speaker for the first time. It was in Memorial Ballroom in 2005 when she spoke at the Senior Symposium. After that event, I talked with her and said, you know, your story is really appropriate for a commencement address. But to myself, I said, this woman carries the mark of the hornet. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the podium the so-called runaway lawyer from the class of 1984, the woman I described as a hornet with a heart, our commencement speaker for 2009, Ms. Randi Alper Pupkin.
This hornet cries a lot. Before I begin my address, I'd like to introduce you all to someone. Dr. Shoemaker, will you please stand? Everyone, this is Wesley Shoemaker, and he was my Lynchburg College advisor. And he and his wife, Mary, drove to Lynchburg to hear me give this commencement address today. I'm not sure that I would be who or where I am today if it wasn't for Dr. Shoemaker. Just one of the many gifts this college gives us. Thank you, Dr. Shoemaker. President Garin, trustees, members of the alumni board, members of the faculty, proud parents, and graduates. Thank you all for this incredible honor. I have to admit that when President Garin called me last January, I was participating in a Super Bowl-like inauguration party filled with lots of people, food, and fun. I mention this because I learned how to have a real party right here at Lynchburg College. Although this was not a credit-based course, it was one that I found both enriching and entertaining. When the president called, Garin, not Obama yet, I assumed he was going to ask me to host an alumni function. Instead, he said, "We would like you to be our commencement speaker this year." The thought of ever being asked to give a commencement address was so far out of the realm of possibility that I was rendered speechless, something I am most unfamiliar with, speechlessness. I wanted to tell President Garin that I was way too young to be a commencement speaker, but I didn't. I had just enough breath to tell him I would have to call him back. And let me tell you, that is some feeling of authority, making President Garin wait. When I called the president and told him I would gladly give the commencement address, I asked him, when did I get old enough to have had enough life experiences to have anything of value to share with the graduates? He just laughed, and his laughter made me think. Let's just say the realities are harsh. I am, in fact, not way too young. I actually graduated 25 years ago. Even more dreadful is the reality that I graduated from this college before most of you were even born. These realities are an unfortunate affirmation that the college did in fact select a seasoned commencement speaker. But no matter how old, experienced, or seasoned that I am, today is just surreal for me. It feels like yesterday that I was sitting where you are now. Again, thank you for this honor. After accepting the challenge to speak, the fear set in. What could I possibly say? Will I trip on the stage? So just like you, I have thought about this day for the last 5 months. Important things like my message, my wisdom, my humor, and my outfit. I'm so glad I spent time on the outfit. I have been thinking about how I felt at my graduation. Was I sad, excited, scared? Importantly, who delivered our commencement address? This is what I remember. And when you are seasoned, remembering is not always an easy chore. I remember graduation as an exciting day. The weather was lovely. My mother wore a big pink hat, and my grandmother was angry because I was not wearing stockings. I remember a slight headache from the festivities of the night. Okay, maybe even the entire week before. But what I do not remember is who spoke to us, and I have no idea what they said. As you can imagine, I found this to be a bit unfortunate. Was I not listening, or was the speaker boring? I'm thinking I was probably not listening. So just in case you're like me, listen up. This is unquestionably an important day in your lives. All of you should be extraordinarily proud of yourselves and your academic achievements. Look around, take in this day, the wonderful surroundings, your friends and family, and cherish every moment. This is the day you launch. This is the first step in a journey towards something above and beyond. Some of you know exactly what is next, while others may not have a plan at all. I am here to tell you both paths are just fine. 25 years ago, as I sat at my graduation, not listening to the speaker, feeling guilty that I had upset my grandmother, and wishing my mother had not been dressed for the Kentucky Derby, I was the one with the plan. As I sat where you are now, I knew exactly what was next for me. Back to Baltimore to law school. In fact, this was not only my plan at my college graduation, this was my plan at my kindergarten graduation. As a child of the civil rights movement, by the time I was 6, I wanted to change the world, and decided to do this by becoming a lawyer. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "People grow through experience if they meet life honestly and courageously. This is how character is built." I am sure you have all had experiences that revealed who you are and what you're made of. As you move on from college, these life experiences will continue to define you and will become the pages and chapters of your life stories. I graduated from law school in 1987, and the bar exam followed that July. The bar exam was one of those character-building life experiences for me. I get nervous talking about it. Honestly, I was never the best student at Lynchburg or law school. Not the worst, thankfully, but admittedly not the best. Before the bar exam, I was absolutely determined not to take a 2-day test twice in my life. I studied endlessly, like never before for any test, for weeks and weeks, 16 hours a day, no exaggeration. I was prepared. As I walked from my apartment to the Baltimore Convention Center for day 1 of the test, my boyfriend of over a year broke up with me. Honest. He broke up with me as I was walking to attempt the most important test of my life at that time. He was not an LC grad. After he left, I continued walking to the test, and as I walked, I had a long, frank conversation with myself. After some choice profanity for the boyfriend, I told myself that I was not going to let him change my plan or affect my efforts. I wanted to be a lawyer, and no one was going to keep me from my dream. Well, I passed the bar the first time and proved to myself that I learned much more than law. I learned what I was made of. I worked hard at something I was committed to and learned not to let an obstacle, no matter how big or small, affect my destiny. It is imperative that you always remember the words of William Jennings Bryan, who said, "Destiny is not a matter of chance, but a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It is a thing to be achieved." My destiny was always to be somebody that brought about change. So I passed the bar, got a job, and started working as a litigator, waiting for my chance to change the world. And while I generally enjoyed my work as a lawyer and found my clients to be nice, kind, and, well, mostly honest, I did not feel like the change agent I thought I was going to be when I devised my plan. I vividly remember sitting at my desk after a contentious phone conversation with another lawyer. I looked around my office, papers everywhere, files everywhere, and a timesheet staring at me. It was at that moment that I thought, this is the rest of my life. And it wasn't a good feeling. After all, my master plan since kindergarten, did not turn out like I thought. I really expected that I would be a protege of sorts to Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. Unfortunately, as I practiced law, I realized Atticus Finch wasn't my destiny, and I was increasingly feeling unsure and restless. Interestingly, Thomas Edison said, "Restlessness is discontent, and discontent is the first necessity of progress." I can attest that it was my discontent that moved me to reevaluate my life and my future. Ultimately, I gave up my master plan and followed my heart for a new dream. I started down a path focusing on social change above and beyond where my law career had taken me. 9 years ago, after almost 14 years of practicing law, I founded Art with a Heart, a nonprofit community-based art organization in Baltimore. Please know that I truly value my law school education and my time as a practicing attorney. I believe that all education, in school or on the job, is good and important. Law school and practicing law are exciting and rewarding pursuits. It is a perfect job for some people, and also a way to affect change. And it may be perfect for you. So come up with a plan that's right for you, but more importantly, have the courage to change your plan if it isn't taking you where you want to go. There is no doubt that it takes a lot of courage to let go of what is known and seemingly secure. But there is no real security in what is no longer meaningful. Art with a Heart's mission is to enhance the lives of people in need through visual art. We bring visual art classes to underserved and disadvantaged children, adolescents, and adults in shelters, group homes, community centers, schools, hospitals, and senior facilities. When I founded Art with a Heart, the annual budget was $6,000, and I taught 4 classes. 9 years later, we have a budget of almost $500,000. We use 22 teachers and assistants. We have 5 program staff, and we lead over 1,200 classes a year. Now, I would say that's progress, meaningful progress. All of these accomplishments came after and amid lots of hard work and many, many As an example, most nonprofits devote hundreds of hours each year to grant writing, a professional way of saying, please give us money. I remember when I applied for Art with a Heart's first grant. I had never written a grant. I knew nothing about writing grants. But as I wrote, I was absolutely convinced I was going to get the $60,000 I was asking for. After all, the work I was doing was great. The pictures I included were great. I knew we would get the money. Well, the funder said, great work, Art with a Heart, but we will not be supporting you. I was scared to the core. I had sold my law practice and gone on inactive status with the Maryland Bar. I was in true no man's land. No law practice and no funding for Art with a Heart. After the initial panic subsided, I reminded myself that I get to choose my destiny, and I was not going to give up on my vision. I pounded the pavement and kept on keeping on. I applied for many more grants, talked to many more people, and just kept working hard. I may have been denied that first grant, but thankfully, over the years, many more funders have said yes than no. I am standing here offering myself and my story to you as proof, first, that Lynchburg is a great place to start your journey. And second, that you must never, ever lose sight of your dreams. Keep your mind and your efforts focused on your goals, and they will be accomplished. As you leave here today, you will undoubtedly face challenges and obstacles. The world is suffering with a difficult economy and a jobless rate approaching an all-time high. And yet I am here to tell you it will be okay. When I graduated from Lynchburg College in the last millennium, I was facing a very similar economy and job market. Use the challenges and obstacles that you may face as the building blocks to create the life you envision. You have spent the last 4 years, and maybe some of you even a little more, at a great school that has prepared you well. And while I'm sure over the last 4 years, you had your share of fun, as did I. They're gonna be so happy I'm gonna tell you this. But I even drove my car across this Dell. But, oh yeah, I was just like you, so you better start writing your commencement speeches right now. That story is not commencement speech appropriate. You can see me later for details. And while you were having fun, you were learning and you were challenged. At Lynchburg College, going above and beyond is more than a slogan. It is a reality. As an alumna and supporter, I know that you have been enriched and educated by a stellar and caring faculty, staff, and community that achieves above and beyond each and every day. So now it is your time. In whatever you choose, remember, you choose. You are all ready to go above and beyond. Graduates of the class of 2009, go achieve your destinies.
From the College with a Heart, we pay homage to the Hornet with a Heart for Art with a Heart. Thank you, Randy. One more round for our commencement speaker, please.